Greetings YouTube, Simon here bringing you another Final Fantasy VIII Remastered video guide, and today we are back to abolishing rules, this time for the Lunar region, which we are going to do before going into space. So we're going to be using the RNG manipulation method to do this, brought to us by geckodogma. I'll leave a link as always down in the video description to the original GameFAQs thread. So thanks to geckodogma for the numbers that we're going to be using today. Now, before you actually make your way over to the Lunar region, you're going to want to make sure that you've challenged somebody here in Esther, because this will at least allow you to carry the Esther rules. And as always, in order to abolish the rules in one region, we need to be bringing in the rules from another. We need to be carrying them as it's known. Okay, so as we head over to our next destination, I'll just briefly explain whereabouts in the story I am. So Squall has taken a party up into space, we've taken control of Zell as party leader, and we're just in between heading out from the Lunar base up back to Esther, where we'll kickstart the next part of the story, which involves the Pandora attack. So that will trigger when I go ahead and make my way over to Odine's lab. So I'm not going to do that until we've gone ahead with this RNG manipulation, but just in case you're wondering whereabouts in the game I am, that's the section. Now, once we're carrying Esther rules, which I currently am, we're going to head over to Tia's Point, and that's because we're going to be using the save point at Tia's Point in order to help manipulate our RNG. Now, there's going to be numerous rules we want to abolish from the Lunar region, 4 rules in fact. So, as long as you're carrying the Esther rules, you should be carrying Elemental and Same rule from Esther. Now, you might not see Same rule when you engage card players at Esther, but that's because it's a hidden rule that will only be visible once you bring it into other regions. Outside of Tia's Point, you're going to want to save, quit and reload. That will reset the RNG so that you're at exactly the same point that I'm at here. Now, once you enter Tia's Point, there's going to be this life draw point. Make sure you don't actually draw from it, because you need it to be full in order to use it for this method. And you're going to engage with it 9 times, each time refusing the draw. Once you've done that, you're going to exit Tia's Point and make your way over to the Lunar base. Now, when we return to the Lunar base, we're going to go ahead and speak to the guard on the right hand side. Now, each time we wish to play cards with him, we're going to have to offer to play cards 3 times before he will accept. If he doesn't offer to mix rules, what that means is that you haven't actually picked up the rules from Esther correctly, so you will need to do that in order to abolish any rules here. Once he decides to play cards, agree to play, and then when you get to the card game screen itself, choose quit immediately, and that should abolish the elemental rule completely. Now that we've done that, it's a good idea to save your game, at which point we can start working on the next rule. And the next rule I want us to abandon is the random rule, and that will make many of you happy and be music to your ears, because that rule is an utter nightmare to play with. So what we're going to do is make our way back over to Esther and chat to anybody there that will play cards, and keep refusing to play them until they stop requesting to mix the Lunar rules back into Esther. So just keep repeating through the dialogue, every time selecting no, and then eventually they will stop asking, and then you can select yes. Once you've done that, you might want to do it again, just to make sure you correctly pick up the rules in Esther, because we'll need to take those back to Lunar, and then we'll make our way back there and go through a very similar process. So once again, our destination is going to be Tia's Point. We'll need to save just outside, quit back to the main menu to hard reset the RNG, and then reload immediately from that same save point, and then head into Tia's Point and make our way over to the life draw point. Now, previously we used the draw point 9 times, or rather I should say refused to use it 9 times. This time we're going to do the same thing, but refuse the life draw point 8 times. So that's the magic number we want in order to abolish random. Go ahead and refuse life 8 times. Once you've done that, we're once again going to repeat the process of returning back to the Lunar base and chatting to that dude, that guard on the right hand side. And once more we might have to speak to him, I think it's 3 times before he'll actually agree to play us, at which time we'll accept his challenge. Once we've accepted his challenge, he will go through the same rigmarole of taking us over to the side so he doesn't get in trouble, and then once the game screen opens, we're going to quit and look at this. Random is abolished. Lovely stuff. Right, now anything else after this is really a bonus, because you can play with the other rules, but why would we want to do that when we've got into a nice routine of abolishing them here? So next up, I'm going to show you how you can abolish the plus rule, which can be a bit of a nuisance in and of itself, so it is worth doing. Once more, we're going to head back to Esther first of all in order to just open the card game menu with a player so that we can pick up the Esther rules. And as always, we're not going to mix rules here, we're just simply picking up the rules from the Esther region so that we can bring them back to Lunar. So once they stop asking us to mix rules, then go ahead and select play. I did so twice here just to make sure that we are definitely picking up those rules, otherwise we could get all the way back to the Lunar base and find out that the guard there doesn't want to mix. That would be annoying. So once we've done that, we're going to head back to Tia's point and once more head towards the life draw point. Do not forget, of course, before actually entering Tia's point, to go ahead and save outside, quit back to the main menu and reload as normal. If you fail to do that, then the hard reset won't have taken place, the RNG will be, well, goodness knows where, and you're probably not going to end up abolishing the rule that you want to abolish. So, once you've reloaded, made your way to the life point, this time we're going to refuse the draw 16 times, that's 1, 6, 16. Only once you've done that are you then going to leave Tia's point and make your way back to the previous guard in order to engage a new card battle with him, but then of course quit rather than playing. I know this appears to be a hassle, but in my opinion it is absolutely worth it. There's a couple of rare cards that we're going to be able to get as we move into the Lunar region, and you know, if we don't abolish these rules now, we're going to have a much trickier time trying to earn those cards. So we can abolish the random rule on its own a little bit later, but why bother trying to just do that when we can abolish so much more here before we actually move on? Anyhow, so long as we've done everything correctly, used that life draw point, or refused it rather I should say, 16 times, as you can see, we'll get the plus rule abolished. If at this point you've had enough of abolishing rules, then by all means take a break. You don't really need to abolish anything else. You'll be able to win the rare cards later without too much trouble. However, since I'm on a roll, I'm going to show you how to go ahead and abolish the same rule. That will simply leave us then with sudden death, which is an absolute easy rule to live with, because all it does is mean that should you draw a game, the game has to be replayed. It's not a big deal. And it's useful to have at least one rule because we can then use that to abolish rules later on from other regions if need be. Anyway, we pretty much know the procedure now. We're going to head to Esther, pick the rules up, make our way to Tia's point, save outside and return to the life draw point. Now on this occasion we're actually going to interact and refuse with the draw point 26 times, that's 2, 6, 26. Now one of the advantages of saving outside of Tia's point, not only is it required because we need to reset the RNG before we interact with the draw point, but should you miscount or accidentally click to draw by mistake, you can at least reload and you won't have lost anything apart from a few seconds of time. Now once you've gone ahead and done the draw, we're going to of course just make our way back to the soldier. We know the routine from here, offer to play cards with him, then when the card screen pops up we're going to quit. Now if for some reason the same rule is not abolished, then that likely means that you miscounted at the draw point, and I recommend just reloading your save file and trying again. But there we have it then guys, we've got rid of 4 rules for the Lunar region and I managed to get them first time here, which is always an added advantage because at least it shows the method works. But now we've only got a couple of rules to deal with when we play cards with players from this particular region. If we just go ahead and see what's now present in the rule system, obviously we spread open, which is of course very, very important. Well, it's not that important, but it is quite useful since at least we can see our opponent's cards then. And the only rule that's left is sudden death. Okay, as I say, sudden death is not a big deal at all, and it's useful to carry into other regions for rule manipulation later on. Alright then folks, well in the next episode I'm going to show you how to get a couple of rare cards once we head into space, and since we've already sorted the rules out here, that's going to be much easier of course. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. As always, a huge thank you and shout out to those of you who support the channel on Patreon or as YouTube members. If it has helped you, this video, please don't forget to drop a like. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hey, even drop by the next live stream if you're able. It's always fantastic when you guys come in and say hello. Well, thanks for stopping by. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time for more Final Fantasy VIII. Goodbye.